بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه بارك وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
وبركاته شيخ.
Alhamdulillah. Um, Bismillah, let's pray every is well, inshallah ta'ala, and let's begin with the end of of Surah Naba. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In verse 31, Allah speaks about those who are successful. Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. Verily, for the people of taqwa, there is mafaza, there is the place of success. Hadaiqa wa a'naba. Hadaiqa means private gardens, enclosed gardens, wa a'naba, and grapevines, wa qawa'iba, partners that are mature, atraba, that are of equal age, wa ka'san dihaqa, and there will be glasses and glasses of wine, dihaqa, that are filled to the brim. La yasma'una fiha laghwa wa la kidhaba. They will not hear, the muttaqun will not hear fiha, in it, with these glasses of wine, or in the gardens in general. They will not hear any laghwan, any low talk, any idle talk, vain talk, wala kidhaba, no any lies. Jaza'am, and this is a reward, a recompense, min rabbika, from your Lord, ata'an, a gift, hisaba, that is given in according to the reckoning. That is going to be the end of the muttaqin, the muttaqin piece. If I had to ask you, what piece is longer, the reward piece, or the okay, is the surah telling you more about, is the surah more bashir or nadir? So let me just clear that clearly. Some surahs normally have a balance between Jannah and Jahannam, between warning and glad tidings. But what you find is that some surahs will emphasize more the warning aspect, and some surahs will emphasize more the glad tiding aspect. Within this surah, what aspect is more emphasized? The warning aspect or the glad tiding aspect?
The Bashira, Sheikh.
So how are we going to deduce that?
There's more description for the glad tidings, right?
Okay, so is there more description of the glad tidings in terms of verses or words? I'm asking question. how many lines? Okay, how many lines are devoted towards glad tidings, and how many lines are devoted towards warning? Let's start with Tawheen. Let's start with verse number 22. No, not verse number 22. Verse number 21. Inna Jahannama kanat mirsada. So that's going to speak about Jahannam. Where does this warning part end? للطاغين مآبا لابثين فيها أحقابا لا يضر.
27.
Where?
27.
27. But remember, 28 is 28 still speaking about the Taghin. وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا كل شيء أحصيناه كتابا فذوقوا فلن نزيدكم إلا عذابا. So it actually ends with 30. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 lines, or we can say 10 verses about Jahannam, about the actions of the people of Jahannam. So we have 10 verses about Jahannam, and the actions of the people of Jahannam, the Tawheen. Then the Muttaqeen, where does it start? Where does it end? Inna al-Muttaqeen mafaz, it starts there. Where does it end?
31 to 36 is concerning Jannah.
31 to 36. Can you see from 37 is Rabbi samawati wal ardi wa ma bainahuma ar-rahman la yamlikuna minhu khitaba. From 37 onwards is about general Qiyamah news. So it's going to end from 31 to 36. In other words, there's going to be 5 verses about Jannah and the people. So what's more emphasized?
Jahannam.
So
Jannah.
Jannah, you can
And
see from the numbers.
yeah.
Can you see this is just over 2 lines?
Yes.
This is 2 lines and this is 5 verses. This is 1, 2, 3, 4.5 lines, basically double, and there's 10 verses. So there's almost a double emphasis here on nadir, on warning, a double emphasis on taghin. So it's important to almost tune into the mood of the surah, because the mood of the surah will determine which aspects Allah emphasizes more. So the mood of the surah is important. So in other words, with 36, Jaza'an min rabbika ata'an hisaba, is the end of the muttaqin and the reward. So if you go to the next part of the verse, it's going to speak about Rabbis samawati wal ardi wa ma baynahuma ar-Rahman. And we spoke at length about how that the Lord of the heavens and the earth and wa ma baynahuma, and whatever is in between it is ar-Rahman. He is the one that is abundantly filled with rahmah, love, mercy, compassion. La yamlikuna minhu khitaba. No one will possess from him, for him, any speech. And we spoke at length on how that is a refutation of intermediary gods, of polytheistic gods, because he is the Lord of the heavens and the earth and everything in between. And it is a negation and a proof against the idea that a God can speak on your behalf. A God can be a lawyer for you. Allah says, La yamlikuna minu khitaba. None of those things between the heavens and the earth, none of those idols or people or whatever the people are taking as gods, no one will have khitaba, no one will be able to intercede. The illa is coming later on, but that's going to be the first point. It's a refutation. يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الرُّوحُ. On the day, يَقُومُ will stand a ruhu, two tafsirs. One is Jibril alayhi salam, and other one that refers to the ruh of mankind. Ruhu, the arwah of mankind. Wal malaikatu, they will stand safa, they will stand in rows. The idea that they are ready to receive the command of Allah Ta'ala. La yatakallamuna, and no one will speak illa except man adhina lahu rahmanu, except that the one that adhina gives permission to that person, Rahman, the most merciful, the most compassionate, the most loving. Waqala, and that person will say sawaba, that which is truthful. So there the illa is coming with regard to no one speaking. ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ. That is the day of truth. We gave a few definitions there. That is the day of truth and not falsehood. That is the day of reality. When the day that the day which is real, the day which is that is undoubted, it's going to occur, or that is the real day. That is the real day of one's existence. فَمَنْ شَاءَ. So whoever wills, اتَّخَذَ. Whoever wants to, Allah is saying, whoever wants to, ittakhada, that person should have taken, should take, ila rabbihi, to his Lord, ma'aba, as a place of return. He should take a course towards his Lord. So there we ended last week. So we begin this week with verse number 40. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Inna anzarnakum. Inna means what?
Verily.
Not just verily.
Indeed.
Inna means
Indeed
verily.
we.
Indeed.
Indeed we.
Indeed we.
Oh, indeed we. Yes.
Yes, and hopefully, did you see the iltifat again? Did you see the iltifat? What's the iltifat? Did you see it? Anybody want to tell me what the iltifat is there?
Ail is at the beginning of the sentence.
Okay, so iltifat means there must a
It
shift.
changes from to his Lord, Rabbi.
Rabbi, it changed from there to what?
Indeed we. Allah refers to
Okay,
himself
so
in first person.
from third person to first person. And why did it change? Why couldn't Allah have used the first person? فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَيْنَا مَآبًا.
I think Malana was speaking about this in the last lecture, about how in the
Was it?
Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the relationships from humans to Allah, He never speaks in the plural.
Good. When Allah speaks about the relationship between a human being towards Allah Ta'ala, Allah doesn't use the plural. Because Allah, one of the messages of Quran, especially Maki Quran, is there to negate polytheism. So it wouldn't be in harmony with that message to say whoever wants to can take to us a place of return. So therefore Allah says ila rabbihi, to his Lord, to his Rabb, to his master. Then Allah goes into the us, inna andarnakum. This is from Allah towards us, not from us towards Allah, from Allah towards us. Then why does Allah use the na there? What's the quality of the na?
His majesty, to show Allah's majesty and his might.
Majesty, might, power. Inna, verily we Allah Ta'ala. And inna is there for what you call izara to shak. It is there for to remove any doubt, to remove any questions. So inna anzarnakum. Anzarna is from the word nadir. What is nadir? Nadir is
Warner.
a warner. So anzarna means what?
To
We-
warn.
We won't.
We've
We
warned
warned you.
When you warn someone, has the danger arrived already, or is it coming?
It's coming. Imminent.
The danger is coming. If by definition, if you warn someone, it means the danger is about to, the danger is in the future. You with me? The danger is in the future. So andarna is to warn. Just a reminder, please keep your mics on mute if you are not speaking, inshallah. So a nadir, andarna means that you warn someone of a pending danger. What was another meaning of nadir? I gave the class the meaning, I think last year. What's another meaning of nadir besides warner? You must remember that. At least the Dawrah should remember this. What's another meaning of nadir? Something to do with the bow. Anybody? This is Nuran, I didn't remember.
No one. No, I don't remember. I remember
Okay.
something about the bow, but that's as far as it goes.
Something about the bow. Okay, something about the bow. So nadir is what? Is the sound that a bow makes, you know, bow and arrow? A bow makes when you pull the string back. So in other words, remember you have the old school wooden bows, and when they pull the string back, that is called nadir. So how is that linked to this warning?
When you hear the sound, you know what's coming.
When you hear the sound, when say an animal you're hunting and the animal hears the creak of the bow, the animal knows that the arrow is coming. So then that sound is called nadir as well. So in other words, inna andarnakum, Allah is saying that the bow has been drawn. That it's just a matter of time before the consequence is going to hit. Like a bow and arrow, the consequence is about to hit. I always find it amazing because like normally between the creak of the bow and the consequence being released, how much time is that? It's normally a few short moments. A few short moments when the bow is pulled, that means the arrow is going to be released very shortly. So the word nadir is beautiful in that sense. It also has an idea of being close as well, linked to that sound of the arrow. Verily we, Allah Ta'ala, andarnakum, we warn you. Who would the warning be to the
Warner?
believers or disbelievers? Bismillah.
Could it also be that Allah says we because Allah sent the messengers like as warners? So it's like not through them.
You could have that understanding. I haven't read about it in tafsir, but you could have that understanding that it comes via the messengers as well. So in other words, in certain cases, the now could include messengers and angels as well. It is possible, yes. Who does the kum refer to? Who is warned in the Quran?
The disbelievers.
The disbelievers. Yeah.
Our believers are not warned in the Quran.
They are also.
Mankind at large, Mulana?
Eh? So sorry, I didn't hear that, Tirshad.
Mankind at large. I mean, the audience of the Quran
So it's
is
going to be
all
human
of
beings at
mankind.
large. So in other words, when the kum is obviously there's like, let's call this, there's an immediate context, and the immediate context of these verses are in reference to عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون. In reference to the immediate context, Allah is andarnakum. Allah is warning a group of people who are questioning whether Qiyamah even exists, and they are having a debate about it, and in a sense they are mocking it as well. So in an immediate sense, yes, it refers to a group of disbelievers, but in a general sense, obviously that warning is for all of humankind. Inna anzarnakum, verily we warn you. Adhaban qariba. We warn you of an adhab and qariban. Why are those both in nasb?
As
Why is adhab in nasb and
مفعول
why is
به.
qarib in nasb?
the second maf'ulun bih,
Okay, good. So adhaban is going to be adhaban, second maf'ul. Where's the first maf'ul?
the kum,
Kum. So warn, you warn something, somebody about something, two maf'uls. Andarnakum, we warn you, first maf'ul, about adhaban, second maf'ul. How about qariba?
masul sifa,
Going to be a sifa for adhaban. Good. It's going to be a sifa for adhaban. So in other words, we warn you, and again I told you within the word nadir also, when you think about the bow, there's an idea of closeness. Allah says, verily we warn you of adhaban, of a punishment which is qariba, which is close. Again, this is the reference to the beginning of the surah. Amma yatasa'alun an naba al-azim. This naba al-azim is qariban. This naba al-azim, this great news about qiyamah, this great thing is adaban qariba. It is a punishment which is close for those who question it and those who deny it. Yawma yanzuru al-mar'u ma qaddamat yadahu. Yawma, the day on which yanzuru. What do you mean of yanzuru? Nadara yanzuru.
To see.
Nadara yanzuru means to see. To see. We'll discuss what see means now. Who's going to see? Where's the fa'il?
Man.
Man.
Al-mar'u. What does mar'u actually literally mean?
Man.
human being,
A mar'u literally means a man. It literally means a male. A mar'u means a male. Often in Arabic, they will use one term but include in it the other term. What's a female in Arabic? It's imra'ah. So mar'u is a male and a female is an imra'ah. A mar'u is a male and an imra'atun is a female. So when Allah uses the word mar'u, yes, we mean person. We don't mean only the males are going to see, but the word mar'u is male. It's like almost like a taghlib. A taghlib means like you use one, but it encompasses the other one as well. So on that day, the man, but the man here don't only mean, it means literally masculine, but it encompasses the feminine as well. The man, the person will see. What will they see? Yawma yanzuru al-mar'u. The person will see. Where's the maf'ul be? What will they see?
ما قدمت يداه.
Ma qaddamat yadahu. Therefore, the ma there is maf'ul bihi. That which, that's a maf'ul bihi. On the day, yanzuru will see al-mar'u. The person will see ma, that which what? Qaddamat yadahu. Second years. Not first, not the other years. Second years only. Qaddama, the what verb?
second verb,
Second verb, Maulana.
What are the second verb?
Um,
it's a madi verb on the second verb,
Good. It's the ماضي. الفعل الماضي. قدم. What's the مضارع of the verb? قدم.
Sheikh, isn't it
يقدم.
قدم. Brother Nam, you're not checking it, brother Nam. We give the second year's chance quickly. قدم. قدم. يقدم. What's the master?
مقدمان.
يقدمان.
فعل يفعل تفعيلا. قدم يقدم
تقديما
تقديما. Good. What's the اسم فاعل?
مقدم
مقدم. اسم مفعول
مقدم.
مقدم. So now, Ima, you're second year.
Yes.
MashaAllah, I've been practicing.
It's yes, Sheikh.
Good, MashaAllah. What's the amr?
قدم
قدم.
قدم. And the nahi, the prohibition?
لا
لا
تقدم
تقدم.
لا تقدم. Dawrah, you see second years are moving. No, I hope you all follow that there. قدم يقدم تقديما مقدم مقدم قدم لا تقدم. What's the quality of the second verb? What's the quality of the second verb?
Positive.
It is?
mutuality or new meaning.
Okay, so that's in the
Causation?
third verb,
Causation,
mutuality.
causation or intensification.
Causation. So let's go to dictionary. So the word qadama on the first verb means to precede. Precede, to arrive, to come, to reach. Okay, let's see, to be old. To reach something. So what would the causation then mean? Like to precede means to go to means to be first, to go first and to arrive somewhere. What does the causation mean? Second verb.
To send for.
Yes, to send for, in others, to cause something else to reach. So qaddama on your own means that the person reached. Qaddama means to cause something else to reach. Something else to reach. So yawma yanzur, on the day, yanzuru will see al-mar'u, the person will see. What will they see? Ma, that which. They will see something, that which, something. What is the something? It is that which qaddamat yadahu. Qaddamat has caused to reach, has caused to arrive, has sent forth. Where is the fa'il for qaddamat?
يداه.
Yadahu. How many words is yadahu?
3 words. يداه.
What are the 3 then?
يداه. ها.
Okay, so let me separate quickly. This word yada is one word, and the hu is another word. What is this word yada? What's the full word of it? What's a yad?
A hand.
A yad is a hand. What are
A
2
hand.
hands in Arabic? What's 2 hands in Arabic?
يدين.
يدين.
Yadaini is in nasb and jar. What's in raf'an?
يدان.
Yadani. So in other words, if I have dani. Okay. But now I want to add a hu to it. Yadani plus hu. But now what happens normally when you have a mudaf? What happens to the end of the word? Like
Goes
bait.
jar.
Okay, the mudaf nilay goes to the jar. What happens to the mudaf?
Becomes light.
Becomes light. What does light mean?
The noon
The
falls.
now win and yeah.
No tanween and no noon. So what's gonna happen if I take away the noon of yada? Yadani. Does it become what?
It's a mudaf.
It
Okay,
becomes
so
Yada.
mudaf. So what's gonna come away there?
Yada.
The
noon.
noon's gonna come away.
Mm.
So I'm next to the what? I'm next to the word yada.
Yada. Okay.
So the word yada means how many hands?
2 hands.
2 hands. And there's a mudaf nilay. So I will say, I will read yadahu.
His 2 hands.
his two hands, or can say the two hands of him.
Of him.
You with me?
Yes.
So the two hands of him is the fa'il for qaddamat. Is hand male or female?
Female.
Why is
Female.
it female?
Few body parts.
Because it's body
Two body
parts.
parts. Can you see how all your nahu is coming together now? Like
Yes.
all your nahu now in terms of the gender of yad, in terms of mudaf, how the noon must fall away if you have a mudafun ilay. So yadani, yadahu, the two hands of him is the fa'il, is the doer for qaddamat. So let's go back. Yawma, on the day, yanzuru will see. Al-mar'u, the person will see. What will they see? They will see this thing here. Now this thing here is actually the whole, oh, it's the wrong color. That thing there is, this thing here is the whole maf'ulun bihi. Oh, what is it? Can you see this thing here is, can you see this is the thing that they're seeing? You agree with me? On the day, yanzuru will see. Who will see? The person will see. What will they see? Ma qaddamat yadahu. So this whole thing takes the place of the maf'ulun bihi. The fact that ma is the maf'ulun bihi, and this is the extension of the ma, or the sila of the ma. Anyway, this here is actually the extension of this part here is linked to this ma. It's all part of the maf'ulun bihi. Then this yada is the fa'il for qaddamat. Can the fa'il be the ta with the sukoon?
It can if there isn't anything following.
Remember, even if there's
the
nothing following, it can't be the ta with the sukoon. If there was nothing following it, it will be the he, the she inside. So just remember, the ta with the sukoon is only there to make the verb feminine. It is never the doer. The ta with the fatha, dhamma, kasra can be the doer. Qaddamta, qaddamtu, qaddamti can be the doer. But the ta with the sukoon, like fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat. That fa'alat, that ta, they can never be the doer. You with me? The doer must be something else at the end or on the left, or not there, it will be inside, will be the she inside. Okay, that's a lot of nahu, but okay, let's get on, inshallah. On the day, Yandru will see. What will he see? He will see ma, that which qaddamat has caused to arrive, has caused to reach, has caused to be first, has caused to be sent forward. That which, what has caused to send forward? His hands has caused it
Hands.
to be sent forward. So what is the thing that the hands caused to be sent forward?
Are they referring to the deeds of a
It's
person?
referring to the deeds of a person. When they refer to the deeds of the person and they say his hands have sent it forward, is it limited towards his hands, his physical hands?
No.
No.
No, Maulana.
What else does it include?
All his deeds.
Everything is.
But I'm saying if it's not only hands, what else does it include?
what it is.
Everything,
What
the
is
whole
it?
body, Maulana.
The speech.
Your being. So remember, every deed can only be enacted through a limb. You with me? Your hands or your feet or your tongue or your ears, or even you get a deed of the heart also. You have a negative thought, you have a deed of the heart also. So in other words, the word yad is just there in, let's call it a metaphorical sense. When I say metaphorical, I mean it means hand plus all the limbs. Are you with me? It means hands plus all the limbs. But normally we use that as an expression, what your hands have sent forward, in other words, what your actions have sent forward. Because a hand is one of those, like kind of core towards action. Okay, good. So what does it mean? What does it mean what does it mean to see on the day of Qiyamah, the person will see that which his actions have sent forward? What does the yanduru mean? There's 4 meanings to it. Can you give me one?
To observe.
To observe what? So the person on Qiyam, Allah is saying on the day of Qiyam, what's going to happen? The person is going to see that which his hands have sent forward. What does Allah mean? He's going to see it.
Will it be written on
You see the
scrolls? Like,
consequences of it.
Okay, so you mentioned 2 things now. The one thing is you can see the actual action. How can someone see the action?
your life is being played in front of you?
Yes, your life is being played, or it's written where it's produced in a book. It's shown to you in a book, and all those best how the book looks, but it's shown to you in a book. So you can see on that date there's the action. So the first thing is when you see it, literally means you will see that action. What's the second thing that Adnan mentioned now?
The consequences of your
You will
action.
see the outcome of the action. You will see the outcome of the action. What can the third meaning be? The word yanzuru also means to await as well. In other words, the day when the person will stand before Allah Ta'ala and they will await that which their actions have sent forward. And the fourth meaning can be nadara also means like to understand, like to see with your mind. So not speaking about seeing in a book or seeing the consequence, the person will clearly realize ma qaddamat yadahu. The person will have full realization of that which their hands have sent forward. So Tawheed, Bismillah.
Can it be like referring now back to the Ya'lamuna earlier on in the surah? That
Yes,
you
yes,
get to know?
definitely. We're gonna make all that ties now. But definitely yes. It will كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون. That ينظروا ما قدمت, it will be directly linked towards that. Excellent. ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا. And يقول will say, and now Allah limits the speech towards a group of people. Because remember, in the previous statement, it was al-mar'u, which means al-mar'u Muslim or kafir?
Everyone.
Everyone. And ma qaddamat yadahu, good or evil?
Everyone.
Both.
Both, yes.
Both.
In other words, in the previous part of the verse, it was about general mankind. Inna verily we Allah andarnakum, we warn all of you of adhaban qariba, of a close punishment. On that day, al-mar'u, Muslim kafir, everybody will see ma qaddamat yadahu, what their hands have sent forward of good, of evil, of neutral actions, of every action. Wa yaqulu kafiru, and now we have a limiter. Whenever you add a description of a person that is the kafir is the fa'il, but it describes a certain group of people, you limit or restrict the meaning. So this next part of the ayah is restricted to kafir. وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ, and the kafir. What does the kafir mean?
Disbeliever.
Disbeliever.
Or the
This
one
people. Kafara means literally means what?
to cover.
Cover.
To cover.
To cover
And
the
then
truth.
what type of word pattern is kafir? What's the statement that will? It's ismul fa'il. Kafara yakfuru
Yes.
kafirun. Ismul fa'il. What's the quality of the ismul fa'il?
Like permanence.
Permanent. In other words, this person has permanently done what? He has permanently covered up the truth. He has permanently opposed the truth, so much so that the title becomes kafir. وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ, and the person who has constantly opposed and covered up the truth, that person will say, Ya laytani. Ya means oh. What does layta mean?
I wish.
I wish. But the word layta specifically is a wish that won't come true. Give me an example of a wish that won't come true.
I wish I was younger.
I wish I was younger. In this life, we don't get younger. You know, our Jannah obviously different rules apply. But you say, how I wish I was younger, that wish is different from saying how I wish I had a polo. You know, you might get a polo, you can still buy one. But how I wish I was younger is a different word. So the word later specifically is for a wish that won't come true or is highly, highly unlikely to become true. Like how I wish I was the king of the world. You know, it's like theoretically you could say yes, it's possible, but like logically it's practically impossible. So yeah, laytani is specifically for a wish. What's another word for wish? Atamanna. Have you heard the word atamanna? Tamanni. Tamanni means to wish for something also. But tamanni is for a wish that can come true. Whereas later is a wish that doesn't come true. Ya laytani. The kafir will say on the day of Qiyamah, Ya laytani, how I wish. And I know I'm wishing something that will never come true. How I wish kuntu turaba. Kuntu, I had been, or I am going to be, turab. What's turab?
Dust.
Dust.
Dust. How I wish I was dust. Meaning what? That on the day of Qiyamah, to be nothing is more desirable than to
Face the
endure the punishment of Allah
consequences.
Ta'ala. To be nothing, to be dead. How I wish I was dead would be a rahmah. To be dead. How I wish I was nothing. And that is may Allah make us protect us on the day of Qiyamah. Allahu Amin. That's the end of Surah Naba. Maybe we can end quickly with some of the sections. So lots of detail within all of the words and all of the ayat. In fact, the tafsir I was reading is about 60 pages on the surah. So 60 pages for these verses on these surahs. So lots of detail within this is one tafsir only within the words of the surah. I want to end with, and I want to ask you, what are the sections of the surah? What are the sections of the surah?
Nana, could I just ask on the last verse something?
Yes, you can, Bismillah.
Um, the verse says here at the end what the kafiru will say, but in verse 38, I'm trying to reconcile verse 38 with that nobody's going to speak except
But remember, but on verse 38, the next verse qualifies it. So Allah says here, La yatakallamuna. So in other words, let me just add it quickly. So basically, in this verse, Allah says, La yamlikuna minhu khitaba. So that's the one verse, and the other verse is La yatakallamuna illa man adil rahman wa qala sawaba. So is your question on with regard to qala sawaba, or what's the question?
The question is with regards to they are saying something. They are saying how I wish I was dust. So is Allah permitting them to say that particular thing?
Yes, because that would be sawab. You with me? That the punishment they're going to face is going to be so severe that Allah will permit them to utter that they wish that they were nothing, basically. You with me? And that wish will basically, that wish there, yeah, later, so let me just change it quickly. That wish there will basically be sawab. Does it make sense?
Yes, I also read that they will see how Allah makes the animals after they get their vengefulness, and the animals will get to dust, and almost like they wish they can be those animals that just goes to dust.
That will be, I haven't read it before, but it will be in accordance to some of the hadith that basically Allah will raise, like if one goat with horns had to, like, what do you call it, headbutt another goat, on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will raise them both and give the other one horns, and he'll be able to headbutt him back, and then they'll become dust again. So I haven't read that specific tafsir, but it is in keeping with other hadith.
I read it in Sayyid Qutb.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on the surah? Okay, so how many of you did the themes? Who did the theme so far? The theme breakdown. So a theme breakdown basically is that you say from verse, verse 1. What's happening in this thing here? You say from verse 1 to verse what?
To 5.
Verse 1.
Questions and arguments.
You say verse 1 to 5. Then you must give it a, you're not summarizing it, you're saying what is the message coming out of it? Like what is the message out of it? What's it, what's the verses about?
The verse 1 to 5 is when the people are questioning. They questioning.
Okay. They're questioning Qiyamah basically. Why is my fun going so crazy? Qiyamah, and what else they do? What else is it about? So that was the first three verses. عَمَّا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ الَّذِي هُمْ فِيهِ مُخْتَلِفُونَ. They're questioning Qiyamah. What is كَلَّا سَيَعْلَمُونَ ثُمَّ كَلَّا سَيَعْلَمُونَ?
The response from Allah Ta'ala to the questioning.
Okay. And Allah informing them that they will come to know. That informing will also be what? A warning. Are you with me? Like almost like someone say, you're going to find out what's going to happen. It's a warning as well. So it's informing plus also a warning. And Allah's going to produce evidence for it, and they're also going to experience it in person, and Allah is also warning them about that outcome. Okay, so because the surah opens like that, can you see it from the opening of the surah? It has a warning tone. It has a warning feel. Good. Then what's the next part? Verse 6 to where? Verse 6 to
creation.
So I didn't get it, doctor.
It all refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation between Ard and Samawat. Everything.
Okay, from 6 to where?
16.
16. ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا وخلقناكم أزواجا وجعلنا نومكم سباتا وجعلنا النهار ليلا لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونباتا وجنات ألفافا until 16. This is, why is this funding this stuff? So this is 1 to 16. This is going to refer to Allah. I think this thing is, yeah. Oh my goodness. Allah's creation. But what is the point of mentioning Allah's creation? What's the message behind it?
Could this also be the creation that we can relate with, things that we can see, things that almost evidences, whereas
Okay.
some creation, like when Allah refers to Jahannam, that those are things that for some people, it's far-fetched. They can't, their brains can't fathom almost.
Okay, so Allah's
Allah
observed
could create
creation
this thing, yeah,
as evidence of His ability to create Qiyamah. And we discussed at length how each one of those are also linked to Qiyamah in many ways. But let's just keep it general for now. Where's the next part?
Till 26.
So 17. Verse 17 to
26.
26. Let's just extend it further, and let's put two other themes into one. If you have to take it further, where do you do? Because 17, okay, let's 17 26. Okay, let's do 26 first, and I can just extend afterwards. 26.
17 to 20, because they are relating to the events of the judgment day.
Okay, so let's just start with 17 first. إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا. So let's just go from 117 to 20. And this is speaking about the description of Qiyamah.
Qiyamah, the day of judgment.
You agree with me? So this is a description of Qiyamah, the last day and the day of Qiyamah. Then what's the next one? Verse
21 to
21 to
27.
26.
21 to
27 refers to
الطاغين
Jahannam.
مآبا لابثين فيها أحقابا
Yes.
لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا إلا حميما وغساقا جزاء وفاقا. In okay, so 26 is basically, if I say 26 is going to be the outcome of the people of what do you call them? The Taghin. Let's
الطاغين.
call them the outcome of the transgressors. But I'm going to add the other part of it. So what's the next part of it? إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا. If you add 21 to 26, what's in the next part? From
That's all-
27 to where?
Does Allah describe Jahannam?
No, from 27 إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا. It's about what? Are you guys following me? From 27 until where, and what's it about?
27 until 30.
27 until 30 is what?
The consequences.
The end is the consequence. What's the beginning?
The actions of the transgressors on.
Okay, the outcome of the transgression. So I'm going to add here and the actions. And their actions. Are you with me? So I'm going to make this until 30. You can make sub themes, but I think I'm going to make it as one theme. So you with me? So this whole thing is about the Taghin. للطاغين مآبا لابثين فيها أحقابا لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا إلا حميما وغساقا جزاء وفاقا. All that's about the consequence. Number 5 verses. Then إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا كل شيء أحصينا. And then the next two is about the actions. And again, the last two is about consequence. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا فَذُوقُوا فَلَنْ نَزِيدَكُمْ إِلَّا عَذَابًا. So in other words, in a sub-theme, it actually has outcome, action, outcome. Are you with me? This is 21 to 26. Then the actions are إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا لَا يَرْجُونَ حِسَابًا وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا كِذَّابًا. It's just 27 to 28. And then what's going to be 29? 29. The outcome is Allah is recording everything. فَذُوقُوا, and they will taste the punishment. 29 to 30. That also forms like a little circle thing there. Outcome, action, outcome. And you can see it's heavily weighted on what? On the idea of outcome. Because sometimes Allah will weight towards outcome and sometimes weight towards action. But here it's weighted towards outcome, consequence. Why is it weighted towards consequence? Why?
The punishment for their deeds.
Why towards God? Because the surah is called Surah Naba. Is the surah more about the actions of disbelievers or the outcomes?
Outcomes.
Naba is the
Outcomes
outcome.
of the action.
Naba is the focus on the consequence or the outcome. So that's why therefore a lot of focus on the outcome. Then we go to 31. So verse 31 to
36.
56.
إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وعنابا وكواعب عترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جاء من ربك عطاء حسابا. This 31 to 36. What is this about?
Rewards in Jannah.
متقين.
Outcome for the muttaqin. Can you see there's almost no, what is it now focus on almost here?
The action of the muttaqin.
No focus on action on muttaqin. Why? Because again, the surah is weighted towards outcomes. It's weighted towards outcomes because it's naba. It's not so much about sabr and salah and charity and so on. It's about the outcome. So the whole surah is about outcomes. Next part. 37. Verse 37 to where?
To 40.
Let's read inshallah. رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ ربه مآبا إنا ذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا. What's 40 about?
Authority and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I think verse 40 is almost like it applies to both the muttaqin and the tawghin.
Okay, but okay, so yes, it does
Like the
apply to
first
both.
part of it.
The first part of it. But what's the content of all these verses? It's speaking about what?
Like overall outcome.
That's outcome on Qiyamah. So in other words, it's speaking about basically like a description of Qiyamah. Of Qiyamah. Allah is saying, what on the Qiyamah? On that day, no one will be able to speak. On that day, the Ruh and the Malaika will stand in rows. On that day, no one will be able to speak except who Allah permits and speaks the truth. That is the day of truth. Whoever wants to take a path towards that day, verily I warn you about the punishment of that day. That day a person will see the actions, and on that day the disbeliever will say, how I wish I was dust. So all of those things are going to be the description of Qiyamah with lots of detail in between. Okay, I think let's I'm quite over time here with you. So what I'm going to do is what I want you to do actually is I want you to basically do two things. Number one is I want you to link which themes, like they all link to each other in some way, but just to identify how the themes are linked to each other. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sub themes within each of this. So identify how the themes are linked to each other. And then the second thing is I want you to go within each theme and see if you can, like we have broken it down here, try to just get a bit more in depth in terms of saying there's this and the next part, and then try to also, so let me just quickly say here. Number one is to, I think so like that. So link the themes to each other. You can describe how they are linked. Number two is to look further into the sub themes of each theme. Number three is to look for textual connections. What I mean there, same words, root letters, like ideas, like someone mentioned now, يوم ينظر المرء ما سوف تعلمون, and so on. Just link to textual connections, and we can discuss this next week, inshallah ta'ala. And then the last thing I wanted to do is I would like you to read the surah and ponder on each verse in light of the thematic view. So in other words, keep the theme in your mind all the time and reread the verse, and then almost like read the verse with the context and the light of the theme, and see if you see anything more that comes out at you from the verses. So Nuran, you want to say something?
It's fine, Malina. Don't worry.
Okay. So inshallah that's going to be what we for homework, inshallah. Just to get into the surah even more, you'll find that as you start linking like concepts in there, you're going to find that, oh, this is also linked to this, and this is linked to this, and you create like a web of connections, and in the end, it like bonds the surah more tightly together around its central theme about being about the Naba. That's the central theme, is about the Naba, the news of this outcome, or the news of this event, and it bonds the pieces together, so it becomes like one tight story. So this is a kind of approach to the Quran that I'd like us to adopt more and more, because it gives you a much more integrated understanding, a holistic understanding of the surahs, inshallah. Any last questions or comments, and then we can close, inshallah.
Sorry, some admin related questions, please.
No.
The
Easter
first
weekend's
question is
off, Brother
related
Irshad.
to next weekend. Oh, okay, shukran. I took one for the team and had to ask Malana.
Okay, Bismillah.
shukran.
So next week is class, and then Easter we off. A long weekend, what do you call it? Inshallah, long
Okay,
weekend we off.
shukran.
We'll send
And
the
then
year plan,
for-
inshallah. Ramadan, normally two last Sundays we off as well.
Okay, shukran. Thanks, Malana. Have a good Sunday.
Barakallah. Brother Irshad always needs to know about holidays because he's a good student. He plans his holidays around the classes, mashallah.
For revision, Malana, not for relaxing.
Okay. Barakallah. Okay, shukran to everybody. We will see you next week, inshallah. Just also a reminder, it's Sha'ban. So, inshallah, do start your preparations for Ramadan, your spiritual preparations, your physical preparations. Do start, and especially look forward to the night of the 15th of Sha'ban, a very great night of forgiveness. Look forward towards starting a tawbah now. And at that night, you're going to especially turn towards Allah Ta'ala and cleanse ourselves before the advent of Ramadan, the coming of Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless and protect. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
salam.
Maulana.